Hey there, Mr. Redder here. Welcome back to r/EntitledPeople Stories. Today, we're diving into more Reddit stories with Karen. My Karen mom demanded my brownies recipe, so I got revenge. I, 16 female, have a mom who, I guess you could call her a textbook Karen. Everything has to be her way. She has no patience for anything she doesn't personally agree with, and she loves looking good in front of other people more than she actually cares about how we feel at home. She's always criticizing, always picking fights, and acts like the world should revolve around her because she's done so much for this family. It's been this way for years. Now, I love baking. It's my thing. I've been doing it since I was 10, and it's the one place I feel like I can actually be creative and just breathe. My dream is to open a bakery one day, even if my mom constantly says it's a waste of time. According to her, sweets are unhealthy. Baking isn't a real skill, and I need to focus on doing something that actually makes money. I just tune her out, but yeah, it still stings. My dad is the opposite of her in every way. He's super quiet, really gentle, and he doesn't like conflict. I think part of that is just who he is, and part of it is surviving life with my mom. But even though he doesn't always say much, he's always supported me. He'll sneak little pieces of whatever I bake, tells me it's amazing, and once even fixed our old mixer with duct tape and a screwdriver when it broke. We don't talk about feelings a lot, but I know he's always on my side. Anyway, recently my mom got asked to help plan this big potluck at her church. She came into my room and said, "You're making those brownies of yours for the potluck." No please, no asking, just demanded like I was her personal caterer. I told her no. I reminded her that she always tells me baking is a waste of time and unhealthy. Then she hits me with, "Well, this isn't about you. It's about making a good impression." I still said no. Then she threatened to ground me if I didn't do it. That's when I realized I had two options: cave like usual and just make the brownies, or finally take a stand. That's when I had a light bulb moment. So I said, "Fine, I'll do it, but they have to be fresh. I'll bake them the morning of the potluck, and I'll drop them off once it starts so they're still warm." She didn't love that plan, since she had to go early to help set up, but she agreed and said that my dad could drive me. Perfect. So the morning of the potluck comes around. She leaves early in her usual whirlwind of stress and control, barking orders at my dad before slamming the door. And then I get to work. But not on real brownies. No. This time, I decided to get a little creative. I pulled out the mixing bowl and started with a basic brownie mix, just to keep the texture familiar. Then, I added hot sauce, ketchup, mayonnaise, garlic powder, diced onions, a splash of pickle juice. It smelled like a crime scene in the kitchen. Halfway through, my dad walked in. He just stood there, staring at the mixing bowl. I stared back at him. He goes, "Should I ask?" I said, "Probably not." He nodded slowly and said, "If she asks, I never saw any of this." And he walked right back out. When they finished baking, the smell was horrific. I forced myself to taste one, and I almost threw up on the spot. So I got a little spray bottle, filled it with water, baking soda, and a little mint extract, and I sprayed the brownies down lightly. It actually helped a lot. I told my dad I was ready, and he drove me to the church. He didn't say a word the whole drive, but when I got out of the car, he just said, "Are you sure about this?" I nodded. He shrugged and said, "All right then, I'll be here." I walked up to the group of church ladies at a picnic table. My mom was already in brag mode. She saw me and said, loud enough for everyone to hear, "Finally, these are the brownies I've been telling everyone about." She snatched the tray from me without even saying hello. I turned and walked straight back to the car, got in, and buckled up. My dad looked over at me and just smirked. About 5 minutes into the drive, her name lit up on my phone. Again and again. Then the text started coming in. "What did you put in these brownies? These are rancid. Are you trying to kill us?" Then she called my dad. He looked at the screen, turned his ringer off, and gave me a wink. When she got home that evening, she exploded, said I humiliated her, said it wasn't funny. that I needed therapy because this kind of behavior was pure evil. Said she'd never do anything for me again, that I was ungrateful, blah blah blah. I just went to my room and laid on my bed, staring at the ceiling. And I felt amazing, peaceful. Like, for once, I didn't let her steamroll me. I didn't cave. I didn't cry. I don't know if that makes me a bad person, but it was worth every second of watching her crumble under her own fake smile. She might be louder, meaner, and more controlling, but she's not smarter, and she's definitely not in control of me anymore. Your mom sounds like a total narcissist. People like that love to tear you down and tell you you're worthless until there's a moment when they can brag about you and make it all about themselves. It's not about supporting you, it's about how they can spin your success to boost their own image. I'm really proud of you for standing up for yourself. That took guts, and you handled it in a way that made your point loud and clear. This was hilarious. Your mom absolutely had that coming. I can just picture her sitting there, all smug in front of her little church coven, handing out those brownies like they were gourmet, only for the ladies to take one bite and immediately start looking for a napkin to spit it out. I bet the silence was deafening. Then the slow realization spreading across their faces, and your mom pretending like that's how they're supposed to taste. Pure gold. She wanted a show, and you gave her one. Look, your mom sounds absolutely awful, and the way she treats you is inexcusable. That said, tampering with food is never okay, no matter how justified it might feel. People have allergies, sensitivities, and medical conditions, and even if it's not meant to hurt anyone physically, it's still crossing a line. I totally get wanting to stand up for yourself, and I'm glad you finally did. But next time, maybe stick with something that doesn't involve food sabotage. You know, Karen, the only good thing about narcissistic parents is they accidentally give us a full-blown manual on how to not treat other people. Right? It's like emotional trauma, but also educational. Like, thanks for the blueprint, I'll be doing the exact opposite of you forever. Honestly, at this point, some of us deserve actual diplomas. Childhood was basically a masterclass in emotional self-defense. That awkward moment when you get a phone call telling you to stay away from your boyfriend of 3 years. I wasn't expecting my day to end with a stranger telling me my relationship was over, but here we are. For context, my boyfriend is Zimbabwean. When he was 16, his family arranged for him to marry a girl from his hometown. From what he's told me, they barely spoke. It was simply an arrangement between families. He's only met her a handful of times at family events when he still lived there. Since then, life has changed. He came overseas for university, and that's where I met him. We've been together for 3 years and built what I thought was a strong and stable relationship. He's the kindest man I've ever known. He's loyal, funny, smart, and endlessly patient. I've never had a partner who treated me with the same respect and care. I'm completely devoted to him, and I know he loves me back. But it's never been simple. He carries this heavy weight on his shoulders all the time. There's pressure to succeed academically, to send money home, to provide for his siblings, to make his family proud. And beneath all that is the expectation that one day he will go back and marry the girl who was chosen for him all those years ago. Last week I got a call. The number was anonymous. The voice was calm but firm. The person told me I needed to stay away from my boyfriend because his wife had already been chosen. No further explanation. No way of knowing if it came from someone in his family, a friend, or even the girl's relatives. It rattled me. Of course I knew about the arrangement, but hearing it laid out like that by a stranger made it feel unavoidable. Like no matter what we've built together, there's a ticking clock above our heads. I've talked to him about this before. We've had long emotional conversations where we both admitted how trapped we feel. I've even tried to end it, thinking it would be easier on him if I let him go. But every time we separate, we end up right back together. The love is just too strong. Walking away feels impossible. Still, I can't pretend this is normal. Most relationships don't come with anonymous phone calls or the looming shadow of an arranged marriage. I want to support him, but I also don't want to set myself up for heartbreak. Part of me wants to fight for him. Part of me thinks the kindest thing would be to step aside. I guess I just wanted to hear from people who have been in similar situations. Has anyone else ever tried to make an intercultural relationship work when family expectations were stacked against you? Do I actually have a chance here, or am I just delaying the inevitable? Edit. People keep asking about our ages. I'm 23 and he's 26, turning 27. He has a permanent visa here, so this isn't a case of him just being here for studies and then leaving forever. He's not from a remote village either. His father is an engineer, and he grew up in a middle-class mining town. You need to have a real, honest conversation with him. No dancing around it, no vague promises. Tell him your fears and what you want for your relationship. If he's going to leave you for her, then you two need to separate now. It hurts, but dragging it out is worse. If he truly wants to be with you, then he has to talk to his family and tell them that you are the person he loves. He can't keep you in limbo forever. I'm African, and I can tell you, yes, it's not uncommon for our families to pressure us to marry within our culture. But it's not a hard rule for everyone. Plenty of people marry outside of it, especially if they've lived abroad. The bigger problem isn't you being foreign, it's whether he's willing to stand up to his family. If he wants you, he needs to say so. That's not easy, but he has to choose you or them. It really is that simple. The bigger question is, what does he want? Forget about his parents. Forget about you for a second. What does he want for his life? Because if he truly wants to be with you, then he will eventually need to set boundaries with his family. If he's leaning toward keeping them happy, then that's your answer right there. He's not wrong for wanting to stay loyal to his family, but it does mean you'll never be his first choice. Update. First of all, thank you to everyone who responded. Some of the replies were comforting, others were brutally honest, but they all made me think. I appreciated the clarity, even if it hurt. The decision has been made. My boyfriend told me he feels he has no choice but to go through with the marriage his family arranged for him. He says he cares for me, that he always will. But in the end, he can't turn his back on his family. He'll be leaving in September to go back home for the wedding. Afterward, he plans to return here with his new wife so they can start their life together. And the cherry on top? They'll be living in the same suburb as me. So it looks like I'll have the privilege of running into them at the supermarket. I don't even know how to describe how this feels. On one hand, I can't say I'm shocked. I always knew this was a possibility. On the other, I feel blindsided, like I let myself believe in something that was never really possible. I feel humiliated for hoping, ashamed that I thought love might actually conquer everything. We tried breaking up before. Every time it ended with us getting back together because we couldn't stand the separation. This time, though, it's final. There's no coming back from him standing at an altar with someone else. The worst part is, I don't even know how to process this grief. It's like mourning someone who's still alive. How do you let go of a person you shared 3 years of your life with, someone you still love, when they're just choosing to walk away? How do you cope with knowing they're starting a marriage with someone they hardly know while you're left drinking gin in the dark? I've decided to stay where I am. I just started a university course that I absolutely love, and the program here is one of the best in the country. Leaving now would mean throwing away something good in my own life. I can't do that. So I'll stay, and I'll try to build a future for myself, even if it hurts like heck right now. Edit. I didn't expect so many people to still be commenting. Thank you again for all the advice and support. It means more than you know. He chose his family. That doesn't mean you weren't important to him, but when push comes to shove, he wasn't willing to defy them. That's heartbreaking, but it's also clarifying. You can't spend the rest of your life waiting for someone who won't fight for you. Focus on your studies. Focus on building a future where you come first. I'm so sorry you're hurting. I was in a relationship where culture and family pressure tore us apart, and it left me feeling like I wasn't enough. But I realized later that it wasn't about me, it was about the expectations he couldn't walk away from. Don't carry his guilt as your burden. You loved him honestly, and that counts. It's easy to say, just move on, but grief doesn't work that way. You're mourning not only the relationship, but the future that you imagined. It's going to sting every time you see him, at least for a while. But one day, it'll stop hurting so much. And when it does, you'll realize that you built a life for yourself that was never dependent on someone else's choice. That sounds like a nightmare. 3 years together, and poof, gone. He was torn between love and family duty, and he made his choice. Sometimes love just isn't enough to make someone stay, and that's the hardest part. Am I the jerk for telling my dad I'll never think my mom is worse than him after he cheated and had another family? I'm 16, male, and my brother is 14. Most of our lives, we thought we had a normal family. My dad was around, my mom was around, and even if things weren't perfect, we felt stable. Then everything blew up when we found out my dad had another family. He had been living this double life with another woman, and not only that, he had 3 kids with her. He also helped raise her other kid who's my age, so 4 kids total. He kept it secret for a decade, and we only found out when the woman basically told my mom herself. She knew about us the whole time too, but she didn't care. It destroyed my mom. Me and my brother felt like our whole world had been ripped apart. One day we were just 2 kids with a normal family. The next, we were supposed to accept that we had all these siblings from an affair and act like it was no big deal. Neither my dad nor his other woman ever acted sorry. They just expected us to go along with it. Dad kept pushing the idea that we're all siblings, we should have each other's backs, and that there shouldn't be favoritism. But me and my brother don't see them as siblings. We're loyal to each other, and we've made it clear that we don't want a relationship with those kids. They don't feel like family to us. We don't invite them to things. We don't include them. And honestly, we don't care about their jealousy either. My grandparents on dad's side are semi-wealthy, and my mom's family has helped us too. Me and my brother have opportunities that the other kids don't, and we don't feel responsible for sharing those with them. It might sound cold, but we didn't choose this situation. I hate my dad. I think what he did is disgusting. I barely want to see him, but a judge decided me and my brother have to spend time with him until we're 18, 10 days a month. So me and my brother have a countdown on our phones for when we turn 18 and can finally cut him off. It's something we actually look forward to together. My mom has never said anything bad about my dad to us, even though she has every reason to. She's civil. She keeps things calm. My dad, on the other hand, tries to punish her more and more. He expects her to step in and do things for his other kids, and she refuses. Recently, he actually wanted her to pay for their school lunches. He and his wife both lost their jobs over the summer and ended up with new ones that pay less. My mom has always made sure mine and my brother's lunch accounts are covered, so when school started back, she topped ours up. Then Dad told her she should do the same for the other kids too. She said no. That's when he decided to get nasty. He started telling his other kids that our mom wanted them to starve. He told them she could afford to pay, but wouldn't. He even showed them pictures of her taking us out to eat, like he was proving a point. It made me furious. This man broke his marriage, betrayed our mom, built another family, and now he expects her to feed them? And then tries to paint her as the villain? When I confronted him about it during dinner, he told me I was being hostile. He said my mom should help, because those kids are part of our family too. I told him they'll never be my family, and I don't want her doing anything for them. I said it was disgusting for him to even ask that of her. He told me to watch my mouth, then said my mom is actually worse than him because she hates those kids and would let them go without food. He said only a monster could do that. He told me I should hate her for not helping out and that I need to stop treating him like a monster when he did nothing to me. He said his marriage with my mom was none of my business and I shouldn't hold it against him. That's when I snapped. I told him nothing he says will ever make me think my mom is worse than him. In my eyes, nobody sucks more than he does. I told him my mom could do 100 things wrong and I wouldn't care because she'll never top what he did. He kept ranting that she doesn't care about the other kids, and I told him I don't care. He didn't like that at all. Later, he went crying to his mom, my grandma. She called me and told me I was being unfair. She said I shouldn't choose sides and that I shouldn't hate my dad. But how can I not? He blew up our family, lied to us, treated my mom like garbage, and now he's trying to drag her down even more. Am I the jerk? Not the jerk, not even close. What gets me is your dad crying to his mom when things don't go his way. That's not a man taking responsibility. That's a grown adult running back to his mommy to complain because his kids finally stood up to him. You should absolutely call him out for that. He wants to paint your mom as the villain, but the second you push back, he tattles to grandma. And honestly, you might want to ask your grandma directly why she thinks you shouldn't take sides when her own son is the one dragging her into it. If she really believed in staying neutral, she'd tell him to stop dumping his mess onto her instead of expecting you to just swallow it. The next time he pulls this, ask grandma why she isn't paying for those kids' lunches herself. If she thinks your mom is such a monster for not doing it, why isn't she stepping in? She's their grandmother too. She wants to call your mom selfish, but apparently it's fine for her son to blow up his marriage, have a second family, and then lean on the woman he cheated on to cover his responsibilities. It's amazing how quick people are to shift blame to the wrong person. Your mom is already making sure you and your brother are cared for, which is exactly what she should be doing. Expecting her to also feed the kids who came from an affair is cruel and insulting. If grandma feels so strongly, she can pull out her wallet instead of pointing fingers. I don't buy for a second that grandma didn't know. There's really no way to hide a second family for that long, especially with kids the same age as you. Most likely, she looked the other way or even supported it because in her mind, her son can do no wrong. Some women raise their boys like they're little princes, and when those boys grow up and wreck their families, mom still defends them. It's baffling, but not rare. And now, instead of holding him accountable, she's scolding you for choosing sides. But let's be real. Your dad already chose sides when he built another family and tried to make your mom clean up after him. If grandma wants those kids cared for so badly, she can step up herself. Your loyalty should be to the parent who actually stood by you, not the one who betrayed everyone. Imagine cheating on your wife, having a secret family, and demanding your ex buy lunch for the kids you made with the mistress. Yeah, that's not co-parenting, that's outsourcing your guilt to the wrong person. And then he tattled to his mommy when his teenager told him off. 16 going on 40, dad going on 4. If he can't feed all those kids, that's on him, not the woman he betrayed. My perfect petty revenge on a wedding guest who has a crush on my fiancé. This is petty and dumb, but also kind of fun to admit. I'd like to think I'm a bigger person, but apparently I'm not. So here we are. I, early 30s female, am marrying my fiancé, early 30s male, this week. He's the best human I've ever known, but also completely oblivious in social situations. He doesn't pick up on hints, doesn't notice when someone is flirting, and half the time he looks confused when I explain how obvious it is. He's wonderful, but subtlety is not his strong suit. He works with a small group of people. They're tight, and once a month they grab drinks after work. Since we moved across the country 2 years ago, his coworkers have become his main circle of friends. There's one woman in that group, Daisy, who has the world's biggest crush on him. I can't even be mad about her taste because, yeah, he's tall, hot, funny, brilliant, and sweet. He's basically the full package, but she makes it so painfully obvious. When I join their group outings, she acts like a teenager, hair twirling, giggling at everything he says, leaning in to touch his arm. Once, she even put her hand on his knee. It's like watching a romantic comedy, but with the wrong characters. I pointed it out to him once. He looked at me blankly, then made the most disgusted face and says, "Gross, I'll just sit somewhere else next time." That's him in a nutshell. Loyal, sweet, and completely uninterested. Before anyone jumps to conclusions, no, he's not cheating, not sneaky, not secretly enjoying it. We spend all day together, work from home, share devices, share passwords. I know everything, and more importantly, I know him. He doesn't even follow random women on social media. He bakes me cookies and brushes my hair when I'm sad. This man is a saint. Anyway, our wedding is this week. Small guest list, just 35 people. Among them are a few gluten-intolerant folks, including Daisy. To make sure everyone's safe and happy, we're doing a regular cake for most guests and special gluten-free cupcakes from a boutique bakery. They're the only place around that's fully safe for friends with celiac. They only make 2 cupcake flavors, chocolate and caramel. We asked each gluten-free guest which they'd prefer. Every single one said chocolate, except Daisy. Daisy demanded caramel, because of course she did. I was ready to place the order when I found out from another source that Daisy had been planning to show up at the wedding in white. White. To my wedding. Her excuse? It was just a blouse, and she'd pair it with peach pants. Oh, and her +1 planned to wear beige, because apparently that's the only color that flatters her. Right. I went straight to my fiancé. He was furious. He told them flat out that it was rude, and if they tried to show up in white, beige, cream, ivory, light gray, light pastel, basically any shade even close to white, they'd be turned away at the door. Daisy tried to pout her way through it. He shut her down. He even considered uninviting her, but I told him to leave it. We'd make sure the security guard at the gate knew the rules, and if she really wanted to embarrass herself, let her. My friends even offered to spill red wine on her the second she walked in. Honestly, if she had the nerve, I'd just laugh. She'd only be humiliating herself. So after all that drama, I went back to finish the cupcake order. And when it came time to add that one lonely caramel cupcake for Daisy, I somehow forgot. I just ordered all chocolate, every single one. Everyone else will be thrilled, and Daisy will get the same flavor as everyone else. Oops. Do I care? Not even a little. I'm not out here slashing dresses or banning her from the event. I'm not losing sleep. But the one thing she wanted different from everyone else, that caramel cupcake, she's not getting. Petty? Yeah, but satisfying in the most low-stakes way possible. She'll get a safe, delicious cupcake just like everyone else, just not the one flavor she tried to make special for herself. Call it karma. Call it me being petty. Call it balance in the universe. But it feels right. Edit. Forgot to mention one more thing that makes this even funnier. Daisy actually tried to push for a +2 on her invite. Like everyone else just got a +1, but she asked if she could bring 2 people with her. I have no idea who she thought she was dragging along, but the audacity was wild. It really felt like she was gearing up to bring backup. Maybe her family, maybe another beige-wearing sidekick, maybe just whoever could cheer her on. Obviously, we said no. The entitlement is unreal. I don't get why Daisy even made the invite list. Your fiancé doesn't want her there. She's openly disrespecting your relationship, and she literally admitted she was planning to wear white. Really? Honestly, she's not a guest at this point. She's a liability. Better to have one less chair than let her turn your wedding into a stage show. The fact that she's already whining about cupcakes and dress colors tells you exactly what kind of energy she's bringing. This whole thing screams office politics. OP and her fiancé basically box Daisy into a corner without even breaking a sweat. If she pulls the white dress stunt, she looks like a clown. If she throws a tantrum over a single cupcake, she looks petty in front of the whole friend group. Either way, she loses. It's genius, really. And I love that OP's friends are already on standby with wine glasses just in case. That's what you call a support system. Congrats to OP. I hope the marriage is as solid as this takedown plan. The fact that Daisy even tried to push for a +2 made me laugh out loud. Like, ma'am, this isn't Coachella. Who does she think she is, asking for extra tickets to someone else's wedding? It honestly sounds like she just wanted to bring her whole family with her in case the groom came to his senses mid-ceremony and ditched OP. That's the level of delusion we're dealing with here. If she really shows up in beige, red, or whatever color she thinks will make her stand out, she's only going to humiliate herself. Update. I wanted to pop back in with a little update now that the wedding has happened. Spoiler, it was wonderful. Daisy or no Daisy. So, what went down? First off, Daisy did not show up in white. She showed up in this light coral dress that probably looked beige under certain lighting, but not enough to get her kicked out at the door. The security guard was ready, my friends had wine glasses locked and loaded, but there wasn't a showdown. She tried to toe the line, but not enough to start a war. That said, she definitely still managed to embarrass herself. During the reception, she made a point of announcing, to anyone within earshot, that she didn't get her caramel cupcake and how she doesn't even like chocolate. Everyone just kind of stared at her like, really? That's your big complaint? On someone else's wedding day? A couple people overheard her complaining and just kind of exchanged looks like, is she serious right now? Nobody catered to it. Nobody jumped in to comfort her. Meanwhile, everyone else was happily eating their cupcakes without a second thought. Daisy ended up leaving hers half-eaten, which honestly just made her look ungrateful. Aside from that, she blended into the background. My fiancé barely interacted with her, and she mostly hung around her +1. She didn't try to monopolize him, didn't do any dramatic toast, didn't pull a scene on the dance floor. And honestly, that felt like the biggest win. She just didn't matter. At all. The night was about me and my husband. The ceremony was beautiful, the food was amazing, the music was perfect, and we had the best time with the people who actually matter in our lives. Daisy wasn't able to take up any space beyond a few eye rolls and one sad little cupcake. So yeah, no giant showdown. But that's the thing about people like her. They don't need to get defeated in some dramatic way. Sometimes the best revenge is that no one cares about them. And in this case, no one did. Married life is off to a great start. And Daisy? She's just a footnote in a much happier story. Thanks again for all your well wishes. This is honestly the best outcome possible. No screaming match, no ruined photos, just Daisy being her own worst enemy. The cupcake whining alone tells you everything you need to know. If that's the hill she chose to die on, she was never going to make a real impact. Glad she faded into the background and your day was all about you and your husband like it should be. Congrats again. Imagine showing up to a wedding and announcing, "Excuse me, I don't like chocolate." Meanwhile, everyone else was enjoying themselves like normal humans. Daisy didn't crash the wedding, she crashed her own dignity. Am I the jerk for kicking our adult stepdaughter out of the home? It's important to know that we are content in a stable couple with full-time jobs. We own our house. We're not wealthy, just diligent, and we have 2 boys together who are 8 and 12. Here's the situation. My husband has had full custody of his daughter since she was young. I entered their lives when she was 17 months old, and her visits with her biological mother were infrequent, often non-existent during her childhood. From an early age, she showed signs of mental health issues, which we sought to address consistently. What started as small thefts escalated to shoplifting, and her tendency to lie, often about trivial matters, developed into pathological lying. This behavior extended beyond our home to teachers, counselors, friends, and their parents. While she was well-behaved outside our household, she regularly disrespected us by ignoring rules, crossing boundaries, hurling insults, and simply refusing to communicate. Whenever we attempted to enforce consequences for her actions, she would run away. For instance, if we restricted her internet access as a punishment, she would leave and often stay away for days or even weeks. Additionally, she began using things in our home that we didn't allow. Things came to a head when she deliberately broke a cherished glass elephant we had on display. This was not just a decorative piece, it held sentimental value for us, and her actions felt like a clear act of defiance. After this incident, my husband made the difficult decision to ask her to leave. We didn't kick her out onto the street. A friend's mother offered her a place to stay. We felt it was one thing to manage her behavior ourselves, but we couldn't allow her to direct that same behavior towards her younger siblings. It was a painful choice, but we believed it was necessary for the well-being of our family. So, are we in the wrong? Not the jerk. She's 21 and highly disruptive to the younger kids, and sounds like there will be a much healthier environment for them without her. Imagine you go to pick up your girlfriend and her entitled mom calls the police on you for no reason. That's exactly what happens in our next story. It just popped up on your screen. Give it a tap and come have a listen. Karen and I are already waiting for you. See you soon.